And Erin Elmore right now. She's the Republican Convention Deputy Press Secretary. Erin, good to see you. Thanks for joining the conversation.
Thanks for having me.
Your reaction to Ted Cruz last night?
Absolutely despicable. What was he thinking? He thinks this is going to hand 2020 to him on a silver platter. He is dead wrong. What he might do is hand Hillary Clinton votes, and then every Republican on the face of the earth is going to hate him.
Yeah, I mean, I thought, you know, Trump coming out with that tweet saying, look, I saw his speech 2 hours before. I let him speak anyway. No big deal. This is helping Trump.
Oh, look, I was with Mr. Trump about 4 minutes before he went out there to wave to the crowd. He walked into the family suite, shook hands with everybody, and he said, fellas, he's going to let us down tonight. He's going to let us down. And then people said, what do you mean? He said, well, I've read the speech. He said, it's okay. I wanted him to speak. I thought it was good for me to send a symbol of party unity. And then he just waited, and then he popped outside the suite and went down to the that main
presidential box,
the main viewing session. So, but you know, listen, I'll tell you what, he doesn't understand New York values, Maria. You know,
we knew that. We knew that during the primary.
What are New York values is that you stick with your party and you stick with your country. You don't become this, like, selfish dude. But he did not take away last night from who I thought one of the heroes was Nancy Pence, Governor Pence's mom. How proud was she last night
she was sweet.
When she stood up to recognize her son on the stage as the nominee for the Republican vice president?
Well, it was Mike Pence who called her out, called out his wife, his children, which was really an elegant thing. But Ed Rensi, you're a supporter of Ted Cruz. I mean, obviously you're on the Trump train. But did it change how you feel about Ted Cruz now? Because he says he's running in 2020 regardless of who's president.
My attitude changed deep in the primary because he acted like a spoiled brat who was entitled. And he was kicking his feet, stomping his toes, and acting like a child, and he lost me. He is a true believer, and he's arrogant about it. And, you know, it's time for him to lighten up and understand what the world's really about. Join the team or go home and stay home.
You're either part of the solution or you're part of the problem.
Exactly. And he
is part of the problem, Marie. He's part of the Washington establishment. He was railing on the Washington establishment last night, but he did exactly what a Washington establishment politician would do, is play to his own self-interest. Last point, he tried to be Ronald Reagan in 1976 last night. I went back to YouTube and watched that speech. He is not a Ronald Reagan. He doesn't have his elegance or class.
Yeah, and Erin,
Ted Cruz, go home.
I want to get you.
And the GOP insiders called him classless last night, so this is just a general theme.
Okay, I want to get your reaction to the calls for party unity last night. Let's listen to some of the highlights on a big night last night.
Stand and speak and vote your conscience. Vote for candidates up and down the ticket who you trust to defend our freedom and to be faithful to the Constitution.
And I just want to point it out to you. Ted Cruz said, you can vote your conscience for anyone who will uphold the Constitution. In this election, there is only one candidate who will uphold the Constitution.
You have nominated a man for president who never quits, who never backs down, a fighter, a winner.
After a long and spirited primary, the time for fighting each other is over. It's time to come together and fight for a new direction for America.
You must honor your pledge to support Donald Trump now.
Well, you got to give Marco Rubio credit, Erin, right? I mean, he had a tough bruising in the primary, but he
did the right thing because he's a smart politician and a smart man and was able to put his ego aside.
Yeah. What was your take on how this impacts Trump, you think?
I think it's only going to help Donald Trump in the long run. And, you know, Ted Cruz isn't a well-liked guy. He's always been called self-serving, and now we've seen it for a fact.
Wow.
So I think his true colors are showing, and everyone knows what he's really all about, and he needs to go home and zip it up.
Wow, and isn't that interesting? Because you say that he's part of the establishment, Anthony, and he's basically led his career as being away from the establishment. But last night he showed a different side of us.
He is completely part of the establishment, and he has dashed. I know this is a little bit of a Game of Thrones thing where these guys keep coming to life, Maria. But let me tell you something. He has dashed his 25 years of what he thinks is his ascent to that presidency. Okay, he'll be 70 years old looking back at this speech saying, boy, that was selfish and self-serving, and I'm really not a team player. I'm a spoiled kid.
Ed?
The American people are a lot smarter than politicians give them credit for, and they understand who he is and what he is, and that's why Trump is where he's at, and Ted's going home and staying there.
By the way, we also have to point out John Kasich. I think I heard that he did an event at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, which is right behind us, but he still hasn't stepped foot in this convention center.
At least he's staying quiet.
Go figure, the governor of the state. Wow. All right, tonight's theme, Make America One Again. What does Donald Trump need to say, Erin?
He's going to talk about the safety of our country. That's a big concern right now with all the tragedies that are going on around the country and around the world. He's going to talk about job creation. He's going to talk about unifying the party. And I think we're really there. You know, Ted Cruz was a blip on the radar screen. Everyone else in the Republican Party, especially with, you know, Pence coming on board, everyone is on the same team. Everyone's boats are rowing in the same direction. It's just going to be a message of thanking everyone for the great week and talking about what our country needs to move forward and win in November.
So do you think Donald Trump can win and beat Hillary Clinton?
129 million %.
Wow.
I agree completely. He's got an instinct for people, and the American people are desperate right now for leadership. And Donald Trump is a leader. Think what you might about him, but he is a leader, and we need him right now.
Yeah. If he surrounds himself with the people who understand national security, understand economic issues, and gives confidence, that will resonate with voters.
He surrounds himself with great people now. Look at what he does. Look at his kids, how brilliant they are. He picks terrific people, and he leads them well, and he holds them accountable, which is something we need right now in government.
If you were in the 2 o'clock transition committee meeting yesterday, hosted by Governor Christie, you would have been blown away by the messaging, the quality of the people, and the quality of the people that are raising their hands, okay? People like yourself, okay? An unbelievable CEO of a Fortune 500 company that now wants to serve the United States and apply some business principles to our government. And so I think the American people are tired of what's going on.
Yeah.
And this will be litigated, obviously, in November. But my guess is, like he did in the primaries, he is going to surprise his adversary come November, particularly with these debates, Maria.
All right, we will leave it there. Erin, Elmore, good to see you.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks so much for joining us.